Alright, hello everyone. Coach Aaron here, and welcome back to another video of me reading my chess book, my tactics, middle game tactics book. So in this problem, the sixth problem in the book, we have a nice combination here. There's a series of threats. I had to make the first move already, so my apologies, but here the first move was bishop back to c4, retreating. And there's a couple of different attacks here. I like this move. Strong move. Obviously we're hitting the queen in this first move by retreating. We also are discovering an attack on the rook, which is only defended by one other rook, and it's attacked twice by this queen and by the discovered rook on f1. So even though the bishop is undefended because the queen can just take the bishop, it would lead to a checkmate on f8. So really strong move. Black has to deal with these threats pretty rapidly, and so Black does that by taking the rook on f1 with check. That you can't. The queen couldn't move in a way to defend it. So first we're going to trade. Black's going to trade to try to alleviate some of the pressure, and then go from there. Let me see now. The next move here for White is bishop takes rook. Notice that it wasn't. You don't want to be too quick here and just automatically take with the rook here, because the queen, the bishop is still hanging, and then there'll be the queen will still have an attack on the rook on f1. So Black would be able to wiggle out. So White plays this move instead. Bishop takes the rook on f1. So now the bishop is defended by the rook on d1, and we're still attacking the queen. So still with the threat there. Very nice move. Very nice move. And then so the black queen moves to h4 here. I'm sorry, a5. Sorry. Queen moves to a5, and then White then plays this really a quiet forcing move, rook to e1, and now here the author here just says that White wins, and he does this time. He does give a couple lines here. So let's look at what would happen if Black played. He gives rook plays up. Oh yeah, we don't want to play. Okay, rook to b5. Now defending the bishop this way laterally, but I think it leaves the back rank exposed. So just the queen will just checkmate here on e8. So obviously the author's just showing that, look, we can't move the rook off this back rank in order to defend the bishop. So, because then we'll get mated. Let's see, he also gives another line. Yeah, he just gives the other line after the rook moves. He also says the queen can also go to f8, which is the one that I saw. But he gave, so both of these are checkmate moves. And so after rook e1, he has the White wins. So I'm going to come back to this so that we can look at some other, like what the main threats are. And but he did give another line, so let's go back. After bishop c4, we do look at the line of queen. If the queen just takes the bishop right away and accepts kind of this combination, then we have rook takes on f8 check. And then when rook takes rook, queen takes on f8 check, and now the queen drops back to g8 in order to block here. Block the check, but then White can continue by playing rook to d8. And now we have more pressure here. We're threatening. Oops, we've got the pressure going here, and then we're threatening checkmate on g8 here. So black has to obviously deal with this, but there's no real way to deal with it, because even if the queen takes queen on f8, then rook takes on f8, and we still have a checkmate. And so not so good for black. Not good at all. So let's go back just to make sure that we covered all our bases here. Even giving ourselves some luft doesn't help black, because we're just going to checkmate on g8 next move. So black is in a really tight spot if we kind of accept this bishop here on c4. There's just too much pressure on f8, as I said earlier. So let's go back. So that's why we give the rook f1 to try to alleviate some of that pressure. And bishop goes back, good move. The queen moves out of the way. Rook e1. Okay. So here we obviously rook b5 is really not much of a solution. So we're going to drop this bishop. So I'm thinking, let's say that the queen drops back to d8 to reinforce the back rank and offer the exchange of queens. But we can do a couple of different things here. The queens can exchange first with check. That's a forcing move. Rook captures on d8, and then we can just take on e5 there. Bye-bye bishop, because it's no longer defended. And black really can't try to counterattack here, because white is just faster with the checkmate. So that's not a solution for black. So black just has to contend in this endgame to just be down a piece. But I think it's going to be decisive, because black has two weak pawns here. This bishop's going to get in the action. The king we might just create some luft and then start bringing out our king to join in the fight. This is going to be a winning endgame for white. And I think the main idea for white is just, you're going to want to just hold your b2 pawn from any counterattacks from the rook later on, and because you can't defend these dark square pawns with the bishop, light square bishop. So long as white can hold these pawns and then start marching them, remove the black pawns, and then start marching them down the board, this will be decisive for white. And having the extra bishop is only going to help that cause. So nice problem to see this tactic, and how the discovery attack here, double attack, is just devastating for the black side here. Bishop to c4, very nice. All right, so thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you on the next one.